Raz says you made a kill with General Shryne's lightsaber.
One of the commandos who'd accompanied Bol Chatak said to Clymer, while all 4 members of Ion Team were slaving thermal detonators to the shield generator's control panels.
That's right, and knowing that you'd want to see it, I had my helmet cam snap a holo.
Clymer's sarcasm was lost on the small arms expert, a Spec 2 who went by the name Trace. Completing his task, Clymer walked with purpose through the control room, assessing everyone's work. Ion Team's comlink specialist hurried over while Clymer was adjusting the placement of one of the detonators.
Has Commander Salvo been updated?
Clymer asked.
The commander is on the Freak now,
the Spec 1 said.
Wants to speak to you personally.
Clymer distanced himself from the rest of the team and chinned the helmet comlink stud to an encrypted frequency.
Spec 0 Clymer, secure, Commander. Are the Jedi with you?
Salvo said abruptly.
No, sir. They're sweeping the rest of the building in case we overlooked anyone. What's your situation, squad leader? We're out of here as soon as the rest of the thermals are set. T5 at most. Retain a couple of those thermals. Your team is to rejoin us soonest. We have a revised priority. Revised? How? The Jedi are to be killed.
Clymer fell silent for a long moment.
Say again, Commander? We're taking out the Jedi. On whose orders? Are you questioning my authority? No, sir. Just doing my job. Your job is to obey your superiors.
Clymer recalled Shryne's actions in the generator room, his speed and accuracy, his skill with the lightsaber.
Yes, sir. I'm just not too keen about going up against 3 Jedi. None of us is, Clymer. That's why we need your team here. I want to set up an ambush short of the rally point. Understood, Commander. We'll comply. Out.
Clymer rejoined his 3 teammates, all of whom were watching him closely.
What was all that about?
Trace asked. Clymer sat on his haunches.
We've been ordered to spring an ambush on the Jedi.
Raz grunted.
Odd time for a live-fire exercise, isn't it?
Clymer turned to him.
It's not an exercise.
Raz didn't move a muscle.
I thought the Jedi were on our side.
Clymer nodded.
So did I. So what'd they do?
Trace asked. Clymer shook his head.
Salvo didn't say, and it's not a question we're supposed to ask. Are we clear on that?
The 3 Specs regarded one another.
How do you want to handle it?
Raz said finally.
The commander wants us to blow an ambush.
Clymer said in a determined voice.
I say we give him what he wants.
From the sheer heights above the med center, Shryne, Chatak, and Starstone watched the towering building tremble as the shield generator buried at its base exploded. Clouds of smoke billowed into the chaotic sky, and the structure swayed precariously. Fortunately, it didn't collapse, as Shryne feared it might, so the bridges that spanned the bay suffered no damage. 10 kilometers away, the shimmering energy shield that umbrellaed the landing platform winked out and failed, leaving the huge hexagon open to attack. Not a moment passed before squadrons of Republic V-Wing starfighters and ARC-170 bombers fell from the scudding clouds, cannons blazing. In defense, anti-aircraft batteries on the landing field and bridges opened up, filling the sky with hyphens of raw energy. Now it begins in earnest, Shryne said. The 3 Jedi struck west, moving deeper into the city, then south, angling for the rendezvous point. They avoided engagements with battle droids and mercenaries when they could, and won their skirmishes when evasion wasn't an option. Shryne was relieved to see that Chatak's curly-haired Padawan demonstrated remarkable courage, and was as deft at handling a lightsaber as many full-fledged Jedi Knights. He suspected that she had a stronger connection with the Force than he had had, even during his most stalwart years as an eager learner. The fighting along the shoreline was becoming ferocious. Starfighters and droid craft flying well below optimum altitudes were disappearing in balls of flame. Overwhelmed by ranged ion cannon fire from the Gallant, energy shields throughout the city were beginning to fail, and a mass exodus was underway, with panicked crowds of Koravar fleeing shelters, homes, and places of business. Mercenary brigades, reinforced by battle droids and tanks, were fortifying their positions in the hills. Shryne surmised that the fight to occupy Murkana was going to be long and brutal, perhaps at an unprecedented cost in lives. 200 meters shy of the rendezvous, he was shaken by a sudden restiveness that had nothing to do with the overarching battle. Feeling as if he'd unwittingly led his fellow Jedi into the sights of enemy snipers, he motioned Chatak and Starstone to a halt, then guided them without explanation to the refuge of a deserted storefront. "I thought I was the only one sensing it," Chatak said quietly. Shryne wasn't surprised. Like Starstone, the Zabrak Jedi had a deep and abiding connection to the Force. "Can you get to the heart of it?" he asked. She shook her head no. Not with any clarity. Starstone cut her eyes from one Jedi to the other. "What's wrong? I don't sense anything." "Exactly," Shryne said. "We're close to the rendezvous, Padawan," Chatak said in her best mentor's voice. "So where is everyone? Why haven't the troopers set up a perimeter?" Starstone mulled it over. "Maybe they're just waiting for us to arrive." The young woman's offhand remark went to the core of what Shryne and Chatak were feeling. Trading alert glances, they unclipped their lightsabers and activated the blades. "Be mindful, Padawan," Chatak cautioned as they were leaving the shelter of the storefront. "Stretch out with your feelings." Farther on, at a confluence of twisting streets, Shryne perceived Commander Salvo and a platoon of troopers dispersed in a tight semicircle. Not, however, to provide the Jedi with cover fire in case they were being pursued. Shryne's earlier sense of misgiving blossomed into alarm, and he shouted for Chatak and Starstone to drop to the ground. They no sooner did when a series of concussive detonations shook the street, but the blasts had been shaped to blow at Salvo's position rather than at the Jedi. Shryne grasped instantly that the flameless explosions had been produced by ECDs, electrostatic charge detonators. Used to disable droids, an ECD was a tactical version of the magnetic pulse weapon the gunships had released on reaching the beach. Caught in the detonator's indiscriminate blast radius, Salvo and his troopers yelled in surprise as their helmet imaging systems and weapons responded to the surge by going offline. Momentarily blinded by light flare from heads-up displays, the troopers struggled to remove their helmets and simultaneously reach for the combat knives strapped to their belts. By then, though, Captain Clymer and the rest of Ion Team had rushed into the open from where they'd been hiding, two of the commandos already racing toward the temporarily blinded troopers.
"Gather weapons,"
Clymer instructed.
"No firing."
Blaster in hand and helmet under one arm, Clymer advanced slowly on the three Jedi.
"No mind tricks, General,"
he warned. Shryne wasn't certain that the Jedi technique was even included in his repertoire any longer, but he kept that to himself. "What's this about, Clymer?"
"We received orders to kill you."
Shryne stared at him in disbelief. "Who issued the order?" Clymer gave his jaw a flick, as if to indicate something behind him.
"You'll have to ask Commander Salvo, sir."
"Clymer, where are you?" Salvo shouted, as Clymer's Spec 2 was escorting the commander forward. The commander's helmet was off, and he had his gloved hands pressed to his eyes. "You blew those ECDs?"
"We did, sir. To get to the bottom of this."
Sensing Shryne's approach, Salvo raised his armored fists. "At ease, Commander," Shryne told him. Salvo relaxed somewhat. "Are we your prisoners, then?" "You gave the order to kill us?" "I won't answer that," Salvo said. "Commander, if this has anything to do with our earlier headbutting..." "Don't flatter yourself, General. This is beyond both of us." Shryne was confused. Then the order didn't originate with you? Did you ask for verification? Salvo shook his head no. That wasn't necessary. Climber? Shryne said.
I don't know any more than you know, General. And I doubt that Commander Salvo will be as easily persuaded to part with information as our captive Merc was. General Shryne.
The Spec One interrupted, tapping his forefinger against the side of his helmet.
Comlink from forward operations. Additional platoons are on their way to Auric Bacta to reinforce.
Climber looked Shryne in the eye.
Sir, we're not going to be able to stop all of them. And if it comes to a fight, we're not going to be able to help you any more than we have. We don't kill our own.
I understand, Climber.
This has to be a mistake, sir.
I agree.
For old time's sake, I'm giving you a chance to escape. But orders are orders. If we find you, we will engage.